Hello and welcome back. Today we'll touch on the big C that I'm gonna call the guest. But that's the disease that's represented by ribbons. So there's a pink one for the guest in the breast. And many other colors. It's a narrative that has been brought to us by the conventional system. And that narrative says that we have to win the battle against the guest. But a guest is someone that usually we have invited. And sometimes guests can overstay, don't they? I'm sure it has happened to my audience here. Sometimes guest overstays. But we allow them in. And how do we allow them in is another subject matter. Here I just want to drop a few words around the narrative of fighting with the guest. The disease with the ribbon, How do we invite in? Well, first, what I need to address is the fact that we are being told, what generates tremendous fears in our systems. We're being told that it just occurs out of the blue, like somehow we are victim, we are colonized by the guest when actually we invited him in. So that's the first lie. And if you want to read about that, I invite you to research Antoine Béchamp. I will write his name under this video. Antoine Béchamp is a hero. And I know that it's his colleague pastor that has been known in the conventional system. But somehow I feel that now more people, and certainly people who are drawn to my posting here, are under the understanding that our systems are a little bit upside down, and so what's been promoted is not real. So for Antoine Béchamp, there's no virus, there's no bacteria. There's a field, and it becomes what the living organism decide that it becomes as a living experience. So if you believe that there are viruses out there to get you, then that's your belief. And then your body start adapting to that belief. And so with the big C, it's the belief that you're not good enough. That somehow you're less than perfect. And so you're fighting with yourself. That's the base. It's the suppression of soul energy, feminine energy. It's not listening to the whispers of soul, but attuning rather to the loudness of trauma. But trauma is not real, because only love is real. So where does that leave us? I give you an example. If you're a parent and you receive a phone call from the school where the children have been just dropped, or you receive a text saying, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs., please ring the school immediately. It's urgent. It's regarding your child. Do you know that your body will immediately respond to words that you have received? it will affect your energy and your water. You may start sweating. You may start feeling pearls of sweat dropping from your forehead, or moisture on your hands. You may start feeling like you're going to be sick. You may feel diarrhea even. It can be quite strong. You will feel your heart racing just from reading those words. You do not know what has happened. But the fact that it involves two words, child and emergency, triggers something in your subconscious that you feel you cannot control. And exactly, you can't control it. And the more you're resisting it, the bigger it gets. So that's the acute of anxiety that I just described. It's an anxious state triggered by two words in a 2D communication through a phone. And that is powerful enough to affect your body. So guess what? There's also the possibility to heal the body through words. It's not rocket science, to be honest. I trained for 4 years to learn this, but we know it. It's there. You know that your words create an impact. If any one of you has a pet at home, snack, park, these are words that dogs like. My cats don't really respond to words, they respond to noises. They know when it's feeding time, or they know when it's wake up time by the way I breathe or the way I move in the bed. Vibrations of sound. And I guess that's what happens with the dog as well. Words create sensations in our body. And to go back to the disease with a big C, well, the state of someone who develops that disease, the guest that has overstayed, is simply through a foot pattern that is not healthy, that is not supportive of life. Imagine being in that state of acute anxiety, often about oneself, but not always, for decades. That's the terrain. There you go. You got the terrain for, tumors to develop. But there is also an environmental factor to it, for sure. But it always starts with the terrain. If the terrain creates a resonance with the environment, then it will affect you. But if we can deactivate the terrain of anxious and negative feelings like not being good enough, perfectionism, not valuing oneself, not loving oneself, as simple as that, then we have a better outcome, for sure. So, where was I? I described for you the acute of anxiety and the opposite. Bringing calm in one system can also be through information, through words. And I think that it's important that I put it in a video. It's something that homeopaths know for a very long time, that is just the way we engage with life, through resonance or dissonance. So the first step to prevent the big C, the guest that overstays, is to purify our thoughts by initially spreading the knowledge that our thoughts resonate with our living organism, with us as a living organism, with our surroundings as well, as we explained. And yes, the environmental factor also plays an important role, but not differently than, let's say, that child that's in school. Your child is being bullied in school. Do you know one of the greatest advice that was given to me when that was my case, or that I have given to my children, is that if you ignore the bullies long enough, they get bored. It's the same if you're in a relationship that has gone a little bit pear-shaped. If you don't respond to your partner's attempt to fight, somehow it will dissolve after a while. So it requires patience and it requires faith, but it works. And so it is the same with the big C. It's very similar. If you deactivate the terrain, then even if the environmental factors are triggering tumors, there won't be a response because you're not vibrating it. It's not part of your reality. Do you know? So even some people know someone that has lived up to 100 despite smoking 2 packs a day. So somebody needs to explain that. And then we think the disease with a ribbon is like a lottery that is out there to catch us and we don't know. But that's not true. It's not true for anything, to be honest, because we are not victim. Our field is electromagnetic. We can engage and penetrate the energy field around us, and we can shape it to the shape of our heart. But if we shape it to the shape of our toxic mind, then we may find ourselves in a situation that will involve a need for growth, materialize in the disease with the ribbon growth, because that disease is actually materialized, crystallized growth in the body, as you know. So at any stage that one may find themselves to with the guest that has overstayed, there's an alternative approach that does not involve fighting with oneself, that doesn't involve harmful therapies, because therapy cannot be harmful, otherwise it is not medicinal, it's something else. It's control, it's destruction, it's harmful. And I go by at least do no harm. So in conclusion, with the big disease with a big C, let's deactivate the terrain, which often shows up in early childhood. It's easy to look at the type of disease present in the bloodlines and see whether there's a terrain. It's not difficult for a homeopath to do that, because healing should be simple, because love is simple. There's no need for complicated therapies and all that we're using. It's not necessary. And you will see that more and more people will awaken to that fact. And it has been my path to share what I knew, this wisdom that I felt is precious, that there is no healing unless it's simple. And then if we activate a agitated state through words over a long time, words spoken, words thought, we can counterbalance that very easily. very easily. So prevention by deactivation of our DNA miasms, and then treatment with resonance, that is returning back to love, which is the only reality. And I'm sure there's a third point. It's important to treat those miasms before conceiving. But as long as there's life, as long as there's breathing, there's always time to heal. And I believe that it's part of why we're here. And it hasn't got to do with perfecting ourselves. It starts with accepting our imperfections and understanding that perfection is dead, whilst balance truly keeps us alive for a very long time if we want to. That is also the question that I ask people who have reached out to me for an alternative approach to harmful therapies. It's to the only question that I ask is, do you want to live? That's all that's required to somehow gently open the door and take the overstaying guest out of one's home, one's temple, one's body. I thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can just drop me a line in the comment, or you can contact me at booking@syria.online. Sending much love to you and your family.
Miraculously taken away all of my pain in just 2 minutes.
It's like the miracle machine. It just restores health to its original form.
But now, thanks to this blue light and God and my body healing this Achilles.
So you feel your Achilles are more
Free,
less tense,
and
you are therefore better at playing basketball?
much better. Yeah.
Miraculously, we put it on this side of my face for about 5 minutes, and then tested with the biomeridian.